everyone, it's Hannah from Hand Done Crochet, and today we are making these mosaic Christmas crochet stockings together. Now in the description below you'll see that I've put links and lots of information for where you can find the pattern and what materials you'll need. But just so you know that there are 5 different versions, they all use the same stitch count, but the mosaic section, this overlay mosaic section that we have for the foot and the leg, has exactly the same stitch count, and so I've included all of the versions in the pattern. So you can either go and view that for free over on my blog as the written pattern, or you can upgrade to get the PDF which has both the written pattern and the charts in it as well. But whichever way, you can find all 5 different versions. And although some of them look more complicated than others, I promise you once you understand the technique of this overlay mosaic in the round, you'll be able to make any of them with complete ease. Now you will definitely need to find whichever version of the pattern you want to use, because I'm going to go through today how to make the toe, how to then work the foot with the concept of overlay mosaic crochet. So I'm not going to be able to go through every single version with you, and then I'll teach you how to make the leg, add the heel and the cuff. So the principle will all be here in this video for you to refer to for whichever version you're making, but you will need to source the written pattern or the charts to be able to make whichever version you would like to. So to begin with, let's talk about the different yarns I have used. Now I've used a different selection of yarns throughout my stockings, and I would encourage you to raid your stash and see what you have, because I'm using a category 3 DK weight yarn. So here I've got Mellow Spun from Mary Maxim, which is a lovely DK weight, 100% acrylic, nice and easy to work with, and it comes in a lot of lovely colours. And I've got Sand here. And then to pair with that, which we're going to use today, I've used Premier Colour Fusion DK, which this is the shade Woodland, and look how beautiful those colours are there. But a great alternative to that is this one that's actually attached to the one I'm making, which is also from Mary Maxim, and this is called Prism. So this is Prism DK. But there are loads of colour changing yarns out there like this, and I think they add just something brilliant to these designs. So all the information of how much you're going to need for each stocking is in the description below, and of course in the pattern. Along with your yarn, you're going to need a 4mm crochet hook, or the hook that meets the gauge for you. Then you'll need a pair of scissors, a stitch marker will be really helpful, and a needle to weave in your ends. So go grab your supplies and then come back to me and we'll start making. Now to start with, we're going to be making the toe of our stocking. So I thought I'd show you this part made one here, which incidentally I wanted to say that you'd need 2 yarn colours obviously to make these stockings, and whichever you choose you can work A and B in either order. You can have a plain background with the colourful detailing, or like this one and the one that we're going to make together here today, you can have your more colourful colour as your background, and then the plain one can do the detailing. It's completely up to you, and you can use solid colours, you can use whatever you like, but the important thing I think is that we create contrast for these and to really make the detailing stand out in them. To begin the toe of our stocking, we are going to create a magic ring. Now there's lots of ways of making a magic ring, but my preferred way is a yarn over the fingers twice like I just did there, and then go under and scoop that second one through. And there we have our magic ring. And I'm going to chain 1, and then to start us off for round 1, into that magic ring, I'm going to work 8 single crochet stitches. So in US crochet terms, we've got 8 single crochet stitches that are going to go into that ring. So we begin with 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nearly, and 8. And then when you've done your 8 single crochets there, you can pull on your end here. Your short end here can get tugged down slightly. Just hold onto those stitches while you do it, and then you are ready to start round 2. Now round 2 is going to increase for us, so we're going to need to work 2 single crochet in each of the stitches that we have. So in our first stitch there, we're going through the full part of the stitch. We're going to work 2 single crochet in that first stitch, and then as soon as you've done that, grab your stitch marker and pop it in that first stitch that you made of that round, just so you don't lose your place. Now, if anyone has followed me for any length of time, they'll know that I really don't like stitch markers, but they're just such a game changer for projects like this. So because we're working in continuous rounds, we didn't join to then start the next round. We just went straight into that first stitch. It's so easy to lose track and not know where you are. So please do put a stitch marker in that first stitch of the round. And then we're just going to carry on for this round 2, increasing in this way. So we work 2 single crochet in the next stitch and in the next. So just keep going in this way until you've got back to where you started. So we began with 8 stitches and we're going to end with 16 for this round. So here we are at the end of that second round, and we can undo our stitch marker because we'll need that again in a second. And we're ready to start round 3. And now round 3 isn't an increase round, so we're just going to work a single crochet in each stitch of the round. So our stitch count will remain at 16 for round 3. But after you've done your first couple of stitches, make sure you put that stitch marker back in so that you can keep track of exactly where you are. So 1 single crochet in each of our stitches all the way around for this round. And then that's our round 3. Let's pop this stitch marker out, ready to work round 4. Now round 4 is another increase round, and we're going to do it slightly differently. We are going to work 2 single crochet in this first stitch, and then just 1 single crochet in the next. Then pop that stitch marker in, and we'll go over that repeat again because that's all we need to know for this round. There we go. We're going to work 2 single crochet in the next stitch and then 1 single crochet in the next, and then keep repeating that. So 2 single crochet in the next, 1 single crochet in the next, 2, and then 1, 2, and then 1. So that's going to take, oh, nearly missed. Oh, I've caught my end there, that's what I've done. That's going to take our stitch count up from 16 to 24. So at the end of round 4, we're going to pop our stitch marker out. And then round 5, we don't have any increases, so we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch around. So that keeps our stitch count. Move your stitch marker, Hannah, don't forget. Keeps your stitch count at 24, just as we had it on the last round. So 1 single crochet in each of your stitches for this round. Now at the end of round 5, you can see this is curling. Now don't worry about that. That's perfectly normal. We are not creating a flat circle here. We don't want it to be flat. What we will want it to do is bend over on itself and make this kind of shape ultimately. So don't worry if it's doing all sorts of funny curling things at the moment. That's perfectly normal. For round 6 then we're ready to increase again, and the way that we do that is we're going to work 2 single crochet in that first stitch. That's where our increase is, and then we're going to work a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So then pop that stitch marker back in, work your way back from where we were. There's number 1 of the round, and that is the increase for the rest of the round. So we work 2 single crochet in this next stitch and then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So this will take our stitch count from 24 up to 32. There we are back at the beginning. And so pop that stitch marker out. And for round 7, you probably guessed it, we're going to work a straight round, as it were. So a single crochet in each of those 32 stitches. So remember to move that stitch marker. It can be very tempting to just go sailing away, but it's very hard, especially on these straight ones, to know where you began. So definitely don't be like me. This is my best advice. Don't think, oh, I'll keep count. I've done that so many times and then not actually kept count. Here we are at the end of the round. And round 8, our next round, is going to be an increase. And you may have guessed how we're going to do that now. But we're going to work 2 single crochet in that first stitch, and then we need to work a single crochet in the next 3. So each round that we're increasing now, we just add another single crochet after our 2 single crochet that we increase with. So working backwards now, we've got 1, 2, 3, and then 1 and 2 in that first stitch. So pop that stitch marker in there, and then we just repeat that all the way around. So 2 single crochet in the next, and then a single crochet in 1, 2, and 3. So this will now increase us from 32 to 40 stitches. So now we've got our 40 stitches, and for round 9 we're just going to work a single crochet in each of those. So get that stitch marker working, get it in that first stitch, and then work around with a single crochet in each of the stitches for round, what are we on now? 9. We're on round 9 now. We are ready to take our marker out and start round 10, and round 10 is going to be another increase round. So we work 2 single crochet in that first stitch, and then we work in 4 single crochets here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Move that stitch marker. Oh, lost it. Then with your stitch marker in place, you're ready to carry on around increasing. So 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and then a single crochet in the next 4. And then that's going to take our stitch count up from 40 to 48. Now round 11 is going to be one of our straight rounds. So we're going to work a single crochet in each of our stitches around, and that will keep our stitch count at 48. So get going, move that stitch marker. Ooh, I keep nearly dropping. Move that stitch marker along, and then work a single crochet in each of these stitches around. So to work round 12, we are going to do another increase round, and we're going to work 2 single crochet in that first one, and then I'm going to move my stitch marker before I do the next because I feel like I might get lost. 2 single crochet in that first stitch, and then we need 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we continue to increase like that. We're going to work 2 single crochet in the next, and then 1 single crochet in the next 5. So it's 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 2 single crochet and then 1 single crochet in the next 5. Now we're ready to work round 13, which is our last round of the toe, and that's going to now be working in the back loop only of each of these stitches. So if we rotate our stitches onto the end, we see we have this V shape here, and the front loop is the one that, funnily enough, is at the front that comes at us here, and then the back loop is the one that's right at the back. So if you just rotate slightly just so you can see the tops of your stitches rather than working front on like that, we look at the top of our stitches and we're going to work in this back loop only of each of the stitches, and you're going to work 1 single crochet into each of them. So once you've started a few, I know we're now working in the back loop, so it is easier to see where you start, but I would definitely recommend that you still just pop that stitch marker in there just to keep track of where you begin. So when you get to the end of round 13, this is what this funny shaped thing should look like for us. So now what I'm going to do is grab my yarn bee, because we are ready to work onto the foot section. Now the foot section in the pattern will either be on the chart if you want to, if you've bought the PDF, or in the written pattern, and there's a different section for each of the different 5 versions that we have. So I'm going to be doing the Mix It stocking with us today, but whichever one you want to do, this same principle will apply. So find the one you want to do and then go to round 1 of the foot. So whichever version of the stocking you're making, this next round is the same for all of them. So what we're going to do is take our stitch marker out now, and then we're going to get our yarn bee, and we are going to join, we're going to slip stitch into this first stitch. We're joining the rounds now. We're not going to work in continuous rounds. So join that yarn and then pull tight on your yarn A, so that neatens it off nicely for us. And then with your yarn B, we are going to chain 1, and then working into the back loop only, we're going to work a single crochet in each of the stitches around. So as I say, this will be the same for whichever stocking version of the 5 that you're making. And now in this mosaic section, we have 2 options of stitches. That's all we need. We need either a single crochet in the back loop only, like I'm doing now, or we need to work a mosaic double crochet stitch. And in the charts, you'll know when to work one of those because there'll be an X in a box. And in the written pattern, you'll also know when to do one of those because it will say MDC, and that means mosaic double crochet. All of the other stitches in all of the other rounds are a single crochet in the back loop only, unless it tells you either in the chart or the written pattern to do a mosaic double crochet. So work away with these single crochets for this round here. So it's round 1 that we're doing. So now that we've worked all of those stitches for round 1, we're going to grab our yarn A again, because we're going to switch around. We're only needing to use 1 colour per round here, and all we need to now do is go over into the back loop of that first stitch that we have here, and we're going to switch over and join our yarn A, and then just make sure you tug tightly down on your other working yarn that you've just had there, and then you're going to chain 1, and now we're ready to work round 2. Now round 2 for all of the different versions is different, but I'm going to show you the principles on this one here that we have. And so our chart tells us, or our written pattern tells us, that we're going to single crochet in the first stitch. So it's going to be a single crochet in the back loop only, which applies all the way through the pattern now. And then the next stitch tells us that we need to do a mosaic double crochet. And now mosaic double crochet is going to be like a normal double crochet stitch, but it's not going into the stitch below it, it's going into the stitch 2 rounds below it. And that's why we're working in these back loop only, so that we then leave the front loops free for us to put these stitches into. So we're going to yarn over, and we're not going into the stitch below, we're actually going into the stitch 2 rounds below. So you'll always work into the same yarn as the one you're currently working with. We went into that front loop there, and now we're going to work the double crochet stitch in that stitch. And that's all we need to repeat now for this round, for this particular stocking. We're going to work a single crochet in the back loop only, and then we're going to work a mosaic double crochet in the next. So we're going down 2 rounds below and working that mosaic double crochet. So then a single crochet in the back loop of the next, and then a mosaic double crochet down into 2 rounds below. And you just carry on working. Most of the stocking mosaic sections do have quite a short repeat, so 4 stitches or at most 8 stitches as a repeat. So but this one's nice and easy because we've got two stitch repeat for this round. And our stitch count remains the same throughout now. Now here we are back at the beginning, and so now I'm going to change my yarn colour back over, and so I'm going into the back loop of that first stitch, and then I'm going to grab my other yarn colour, which is still attached here, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and then pull tight on the other one. And then for this particular one, we're going to chain 1, and then round 3 we don't have any mosaic stitches at all, so we are just going to work a single crochet in the back loop only of each of the stitches around. Here we are back at the start then, and we're going to slip stitch in the back loop of that first stitch to join. Just pull that through there, and do remember to tug tight on that one there. And now round 4 for this version is going to give us a chain 1 to begin with, or for every round now, and then we're going to work a single crochet in the back loop of the first, and then it asks us to do a mosaic double crochet in the next 3. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to work down into the front loop 2 rounds below. So that's our first one. This is our second one. And that's our third one. And then we need to single crochet in the next, and then a mosaic double crochet in the next 3. And that's all we need to repeat all the way around now. So single crochet in the back loop and then mosaic double crochet in the next 3. But obviously bear in mind that this is only for this version, but the principles of this apply to any version that you are making. You're going to work wherever it tells you in the round to do a single crochet, you do it in the back loop only, and anywhere it tells you to do a mosaic double crochet, you do it in the front loop of the stitch 2 rounds below. And then we change our yarn colour after each round, working to that back loop. You chain 1 and off you go again. Just follow the map, not a map, follow either the written pattern or the chart for the stocking that you're making, and it will come up with all sorts of different lovely designs for you. And now for this foot section, we have to go up until round 25. So all of them are the same. We all need 25 rounds of this foot section now. And then when you've done that, I will grab one to show you. That hasn't got its heel in. When you've done these 25 rounds, we get to this point here, and what we now after that need to do is split for the heel. So we need to make a space here that's going to let us work a heel into here and change the angle of the stocking and allow us then to carry on up the leg. So whichever version you're doing, work your way up until round 25 following those rules that we've just been through, and then come back to me and I'll show you how we split for the heel and then how we work up the leg. Okay, so now I have worked the rounds that I need to up until we're ready to split for the heel here, and we're going to do it in exactly the same way for all of the stockings. We're going to leave a space and then we're going to carry on working up for the leg. So when you have got to the space in the pattern where it tells you to do that, we are just going to then start by creating some foundation single crochet stitches that are going to be the space for the heel. Now foundation single crochet stitches are absolutely fabulous once you get the knack of them. So we're going to begin them by working a chain 2 to start with, and then into the back bump of that first chain that we made, we're going to start a single crochet. Now we pop our hook in and we yarn over and we pull through. And now what we need to do before we complete the stitch, we're going to yarn over and pull through just 1, and that creates a chain for when we're now going to do the next stitch. But now we complete this single crochet by yarning over and pulling through both. So that is now 1 foundation single crochet stitch made. And to work our next one, we now need to go into that chain 1 that we made. So in this space here, and you're going to make sure that you've got both parts of the stitch over your hook there, and you're going to yarn over and pull through. Now we need to make another chain for our next one to go into. So we yarn over and pull through just 1, and then you yarn over and pull through 2, and that is 2 made. And we carry on in the same way. We need to do 24 of these. So go into that chain of the next one, we yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 1, yarn over and pull through 2. So that's 1, 2 and 3 made now. So go ahead and do 24 of those. So once we've got our 24, we now need to skip the appropriate amount of stitches. So 24 from where we joined there. So that's our first stitch. And then we're going to skip 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. So now we're ready in the next stitch to carry on the instructions for this round. So whether you're working from the written pattern or from the chart, you'll now see that we need to do for this version a single crochet in the next 3, in those back loops obviously, and then a mosaic double crochet in the next stitch. and then you just carry on working this round. It is as the pattern tells you to, up until you get to that first foundation single crochet that we have around here. So work around to there, join me there, and I'll show you what we do next. So that's the end of round 26. And now for round 27, what we're going to do is we're going to join just as we have been doing, but it's going to be into that first stitch, the foundation single crochet there. So the back loop of that, and we're going to get our other yarn colour, so change your yarn colour there, ready to work round 27. And so we chain 1, and then round 27, as you'll see from the written pattern or the chart, is written exactly the same. So for this version, we're going to do a mosaic double crochet, then we're going to do a single crochet. But for this, obviously, we don't have 2 rounds below because it's down here. So what we're going to need to do is use the parts of this foundation stitch for our front loop. So we're going to pretend that the bottom of this stitch is actually the front loop. So we've joined to the back loop. Let's try it on a lighter colour, it'll be easier for you to see here. We've got the back loop of the stitch here. We've got the front loop of the stitch here. So that's the V across the top there. We've got the front and the back. And then we've also got this extra loop that we have here. We're going to use this final loop that we have down here to add the heel in. So what we're going to do is we're going to be adding into this part of the stitch here if we're doing a mosaic double crochet for just these 24 stitches that we have here. So I need to do one for the first stitch, so I'm going to go down into this space that we have here. So that's our first mosaic double crochet, and then we need to work a single crochet, so that goes into the back loop. So turn all the way around to find that back loop of that next stitch, and then we need to do a mosaic double crochet in the next. So go down into that bar that we have there, and then we go to the back loop of the next for a single crochet, and then we work down into that bottom part of the stitch there. And so just keep going around like this, and then when you get back to your regular stitches, of course, then we can go down and start using the front loops of 2 rounds below. As soon as we get to here, we go back to our regular way of working the mosaic stitches. It's just for this small section here that we do it slightly different on this round. So here we are after those 24 stitches, and I'm going to start working the mosaic stitches down into 2 rounds below now. So that will be back down into round 25, and then we carry on working as per the pattern all the way around this round. And then that's really it that you need to know for the leg, because the leg is now worked in exactly the same way as we did the foot part. You're going to switch colours each round that you work, and you're going to follow the pattern, whether that's the chart or the written pattern, to create this pattern as we work up the stocking. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that takes us up, I haven't got my pattern there to check, but up until round 66, I believe. If I'm wrong, I apologise. But somewhere around that number, just keep following the pattern up until it gets to the end of the leg section. And then we'll be ready to not break your yarn, keep your yarn with you, and then we'll be ready to add the cuff as a join as you go cuff at the top. So work your way to there, meet me back here, and we'll do the cuff together. So once you have completed all of the rounds that you need to up until round 66 for the leg of the stocking, we can now start working the cuff. And the cuff that I've already done on this one to show you is worked as a join as you go cuff. And we're going to be working single crochet in the back loop only. And we're going to make it twice the length that we want it to be, because then we're going to turn it back over on itself just like that. So we're carrying on with the yarn that you finished the last round with, so that should be yarn A. So I have slip stitched into my first stitch of the round, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 25. Now if you wanted to make your cuff shorter or longer, then you just change that number of chains. Just bear in mind that whatever you do is then going to be folded over in half, but you can make this as short or as long as you like, but I'm going to go with 25. Once you've got the chains that you need for your cuff, we are going to start working back along these chains and get back to our final round, because we're going to join this round each time that we get back to it. So I'm going to turn my chains so that I've got the back bumps facing me. And the second chain from the hook, I'm going to start working in there, and I'm going to work a single crochet. And then I'm just going to work a single crochet in each of these back bumps of this chain that we've made up until I get back down to the stocking. Here we are then, I've done a stitch in each of those chains. So now, because I missed one at the beginning because we worked in the second chain from the hook, I've now got 24 stitches. So just make sure when you're doing your cuff, if you change the number of stitches, that each of the rows gets that same number. So then for this first time that we're coming back to this last round here, we're going to slip stitch in just one stitch around. So I'm going to put a slip stitch here into the next stitch of the final round, and then we're going to turn and we're going to work back along these 24 stitches that we have, and we're going to work a single crochet in the back loop only. So our stitches are facing the top here, and so we've got our front loop and we have our back loop. So just as we've been doing with the stocking as we've been going around in the rounds, we're going to work into the back loop only here. And then as an option for the last stitch, you can either go into the back loop only, or you can go to the full part of the stitch. If you go into the full part of the stitch, it will just make the cuff just a tiny bit tighter, but it's entirely up to you. And then when you've done that, you're going to turn and you're going to chain one, and then we're going to work a single crochet in the back loop only of all the stitches down your cuff. Then when you've worked in all of those stitches, we're back at this final round, and from now on, when we get back to it, we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So this is our first one, and then this is our second one. So slip stitch in 2 now when you get back to there, and then we're going to turn and we're going to work along the 24 stitches that I have. I'm going to work a single crochet in the back loop only. And that's all there is to the cuff. We're going to carry on working in this way, turning at the end of each row, and then when you get back down to the round here, you're going to slip stitch into so that you can then turn around and move along the cuff. And you'll work all the way around the edge here up until you get back to where we've started. So if you want to work away doing that, and then meet me back here once you've got to the last row, and then I'll show you just how we can easily join this, and then we'll have completed the cuff. So I've worked all the way around now, joining to the cuff as I go, and now what we need to do is join this last row that I've just made to the first row of the cuff, and we can do that with just a simple slip stitch seam. So I'm going to just chain one, and then I'm just going to simply join the stitches of this row to the stitches of the first row. So that's going to be into the back of the chains that we made to begin our cuff. So just work your way through, joining with a nice, steady and easy slip stitch, because if you pull too tight with the slip stitch, it will pucker the seam. So just make sure you give it a good amount of space, and just don't pull too tight on these stitches. So we'll work all the way down up until we've run out of stitches, and that will join our cuff. So here we are then at the end. We're going to break our yarn and we'll pull through, and then we can just weave this end in under here, because this is going to be on the inside, because we're going to turn our cuff over in just a second. So just weave this end in. So now we can turn our cuff over, and the last thing that we're going to need to do in terms of crochet here is to put this heel in. So it's an afterthought heel that we can now put into this space. So grab your yarn, whichever colour you want it to be, and then we'll put that in together. To add the heel to our stocking, we are going to need to get to one of these corners. You can start on either corner, but I think it's best to start on the corner where you've actually got the join. I mean, you can't see the join terribly, obviously, but it is there. So if you join to that corner, it will be less obvious than if you join to the other, but it really doesn't matter. So to begin the heel, we are going to join to this first stitch here, and we'll add the yarn, whichever one you choose to use for your heel, And to begin with, we are going to single crochet 2 together. Now what that means is over 2 stitches we're going to create 1. So we're going to begin a single crochet in the first stitch, and then we'll begin a single crochet in the next stitch, and then we yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So that's decreased for us. And now we need to single crochet in the next 14 stitches. Then when you've done those 14 stitches, we just need to repeat that again. So we're going to single crochet 2 together. So that's then in 1 and 2. We join those together. And then we're going to single crochet in 14. So then just at this corner, you just carry on working. Make sure you don't go into the one that's actually joined to the actual round there, because then the next bit is the bottom of these foundation single crochets we did. So that's our 14, and then we just need to repeat that again. We single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to single crochet in 14. So that's our 2 together, and then we do 14 to get back to the beginning. So once you've done those 14, we're ready to start round 2. And we are going to be working in continuous rounds just like we did for the toe. So there's no need to slip stitch to join here. We're just going to carry straight on. And the next round is really similar, except we just change the numbers. We're going to single crochet 2 together to start with, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 9. Then when you've done those 9, we're going to repeat that again. So single crochet 2 together and then single crochet in 9, 2 more times. And then to finish round 2, we are going to single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to single crochet in the last 10 stitches. Now for round 3, it's really similar again. We're going to single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 8. And then just like in round 2, we're going to repeat that 2 more times. So single crochet 2 together and then single crochet in 8. And then the final time we're going to single crochet 2 together and then single crochet in 9. So our next round, round 4, is going to be a single crochet 2 together and then single crochet in 7. And just as we've been doing before, we do that 3 times. And then the last repeat of it, we actually single crochet in 8 after our single crochet 2 together. And then the subsequent rounds all the way down to the last round are just decreasing each time the numbers of stitches that you do in between those single crochet 2 togethers. So we carry on until round 9, and when you get to there, you'll see in the pattern that you single crochet 2 together, then you single crochet in 2 stitches, and you do that 3 times, and then you end with single crochet 2 together and then single crochet in the last 3. So just work in this format up until you get to round 9, and then we are almost done. Once you've completed those 9 rounds, you're going to need to break your yarn, leaving yourself enough of a tail to weave in, and then pop the yarn on your needle. Then we're just going to simply work through the last stitches of that last round to gather it together. Now you can work this into a circle, or you can join it into a straight line, whichever you prefer. Then just secure your end inside. The next thing I recommend you do is that you actually block your stocking. And I found that the best way to do that is to actually cut a piece of card to the shape of your stocking. And then we slot the card inside the stocking, and you can damp, I wouldn't wet it because it will make your cardboard wet, but I would damp block it there, or just dry block it and just leave it there. And actually, if you're just using these to display for some time for the holiday season, leaving the cardboard in them helps them keep their shape beautifully.